All right, boys and girls, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Grab your paper and pen, and let's get going. Let me ask you something, and I don't care if I'm offending anybody in this one because you guys got to wake up. Have you ever been in a sales conversation where the prospect keeps interrupting you, questions your price, or just tries to flat out talk to you like you're lucky to be there? Like you don't deserve to be there. You're lucky to be there. Yeah. And in that moment, you either shrink as a person or you step up. Today, we're not only talking about fancy scripts, we're talking about composure, frame, presence, how to stop being interrupted, how to stop feeling awkward in a social environment, and how to handle disrespect without losing your cool or even in a deal. Because here's the truth, and a lot of you are going to hate the truth, but here's the truth: objections don't kill deals, your reaction to them does. Fuck the mental game. It's your reaction to them. In any composure, in any tone, anything that's affected by it, it's your reaction to them that does that. So if you ever feel thrown off in a conversation, this one's for you. I'm Sal Cosentino. February 26th. I'm your chief executive officer. I'm also a cloud architect. I'm a trainer. I motivate people. I want you to feel motivated. It's not even just about getting the money. It's about feeling motivated and learning and relearning. So let's get to it. You handle scenarios isn't just about what you say. It's about framing control. It's about composure. It's about presence, right? So I'm going to write that down, right? Frame and control, compose your composure, and then presence. I want to break this into three sections. I want to talk about our sales rookie. I want to talk about our sales warrior script and why it worked, right? So how do you stop somebody from actually interrupting you? And that's an important situation. You're explaining value. The prospect keeps cutting you off in a deal. In any scenario, in any deal. Yeah, I know, but what's the price? The rookie. Oh, sorry. Yeah, so the price is, but also what I was saying earlier. So think about prospects as well too when you're talking to the customer or talking to the sales rookies. You know, understand that it's not just about the price, right? It's answering the questions. You're talking to a professional. That person has experience. That person wants to help you. He's not just there to get a check, leaders. They shrink. They start rushing. They lose control. Like, you're leading this, not me. Rookies. You're shrinking. What can you say as a professional? The interruption of the prospect. You have a sales professional, and this prospect interrupts you and just says, yeah, I know, but what's the price? Let me finish this thought. It'll answer your question. Let me finish this thought. It'll answer your question in whatever tone that you want, whatever tone that makes you feel comfortable. But let me finish this thought. Simple. Pause. Stay on their frequency. Right? This isn't a storytelling. This is a real scenario. I'm not telling a story. I don't read books to people. I'm not a storyteller. I'm a professional. And if this offends you, get the fuck out of my class. I don't care. You're gonna learn. You're gonna understand how to then continue speaking slower. If they interrupt again, I'll promise you. I promise I'll get to that. This part's important. So the interruption, right? The interruption. Let me finish this thought. I'll answer your question in whatever tone you want. Again, if they speak slow, then you speak slower, right? So if they interrupt you, just say, hey, I'll promise to get to that. This part is important. It's gonna work. Why? The whys are always there. The whys are why, right? Calm authority. You're stopping interruptions. You don't fight. You mediate. You don't apologize. You don't speed up. You don't get emotional. People interrupt nervous energy. They don't interrupt your grounded presence. They don't. The presence is grounded, right? If they still interrupt repeatedly, are you looking for a quick answer or a strategic answer? Get your binary. Remember we talked about binary the other day? Are you looking for a quick answer or strategic answer? Binary control, right? And before I get to the awkwardness stage of it, because I know, we talk about interruptions, we talk about, and this is interruptions, right? Like even when we interrupt, like how do we stop people from interrupting, right? Um, and that's everywhere, but it's how you treat it. Oops. How do you, as a rookie or professional, deal with interruptions? Right? Let me finish this thought. I'll answer your question. I promise I'll get to that. This part is important, right? Here's some great language to say. Like it's not rocket science, right? It's not rocket science. And before I get to the awkwardness stage, because there is people that are socially awkward in any environment or on the phone, and that comes from sales. It usually comes from like you needing the approval, you fear of silence, talking too fast, your over explanation. And I want to talk about over explanation before I go because I think over explanation is very important, right? And the silence of that in sales, right? When a prospect asks you a specific feature, only answer that specific feature, nothing more. When someone asks if you can deliver something, a system, a product, by a specific date, the answer is yes or no, not yes followed by your entire schedule for the next 6 weeks. If they ask a simple question, and this is over explanation, and I think over explanation should be part of this before I get to step two. And over explanation is a great point, right? Let's talk about, let's discuss about over explanation, right? Because that's an issue, right, for people. And again, so we're over explanation, right? So if they ask you a simple question, you give them a simple answer. Don't continue talking. You don't add context. They didn't ask you for or even actually mention other capabilities, right? Or you even mentioned the other capabilities. When you talk over, you're trying to build value, but you're actually creating doubt. Think about it, rookies. Think about it, guys. Like the right the right move for you guys to do is to answer what they asked, then stop. Let the silence sit there, sort of what I did here in this example, right? Let me finish this thought. I'll answer your question. Pause, right? Then continue to speak slower. Like give them your thought. If they interrupt again, I promise I'll get to that. This part is important. There's nothing wrong with that. If you want more information, they'll ask for it. Or sorry, if they want more information, they'll ask for it. You know, over explaining uh it's like you don't trust your own answer. It's like you're trying to convince them that the answer you just gave was good enough. Try to get more comfortable with silence, right? During your hold phase. Like the most deals are lost because salespeople don't know when to stop talking, right? Think about what I said. And a lot of deals are lost because salespeople don't know when to stop talking. There's no what's the word I want to say? There's no really an explanation to, you know, this, but you have to understand the over explanation is a big problem, and over explaining the problem is a problem in sales, right? And being comfortable with silence during that hold phase, and that's the important part of it, right? We're not. I'm not trying to. What's the word? You know, hypnotize you or hypnotize the prospect in in whatever way, right? You need to understand how over explanation in a sales call or in a sales deal works. Right? Remember, the prospect asks you about a specific feature, answer the specific feature, right? Giving away the price, yeah, deal with your objection, right? What's different objections? Yeah, we've gone through different objections, but answer that specific question. Sometimes it's okay, right? You're one on one. Get the customer to come to you. So let's go back to again why that works. You don't fight. I promise I'll get to you that part is important, right? And this is how rookie and professions deal with interruptions. People interrupt the nervous energy, like I said. Are you looking for a quick answer or a strategic answer? And that is if you were interrupted repeatedly, and that happens a lot. It's annoying, right? It's annoying to you, right? Well, you're the professional now, right? You want to be the professional, then act like a professional. You want to be that rookie, then talk like you're a professional. Use a little common sense, right? So socially awkwardness and that in sales comes from needing approval, not just in your communication, in your friendship, in your circle of friends, in life. You're talking too fast, you're over explaining becomes socially awkward. We're still thinking. Okay, right? The rookie, right away, we're still thinking. This is a prospect telling you we're still thinking. Oh, okay, yeah, totally no problem. I understand. Take your time. I'll just follow up next week unless you want to talk sooner. Rookies, tell me what's going on with this one. Right? Tell me what's going on with this one. But here, number 2, guys. I want you guys to write this down as well too. You guys have enough time. You have an hour. Again, you can always pause and rewind, right, and follow along, guys. I'll give you that time. This is, you want to listen. It's hard to ingest a lot of things. Hey, you have that pen and paper. Write this stuff down. We're doing it at the same time, right? So make sure that you're following along, and stop being socially awkward. Right? How do you stop that? Right? How do you actually stop that? And this typing today is off the roof. All right. You guys got time to copy this or take snapshots. So, being socially awkward. You're over talking, you're filing silence, you're nervous laughter, right? Oh, okay. Yeah, no problem. I totally understand. Right? I understand. Take your time. I'll just follow up next week unless you want to talk sooner. Right? So right here, you're over talking, you're filling silence, and you have a nervous laughter, right? So that's the tone. And after what the prospect tells you, we're still thinking, right? So this is we're still thinking. Prospect says we're still we are still thinking, or we're still thinking. That's normal, right? Are you a sales professional? Act like one. Oh, sorry, rookie. Sales rookie, act like one, right? Now we're gonna go to the sales professional, the sales warrior, right? Not the sales warrior, but the sales warrior, right? And prospect that. You talked about the rookie, you talked about the professional, right? You're a professional, right? Okay. How many years experience do you have? I've got about 10. Okay, so let me give you something. We're still thinking about a service or product. What are you gonna say? Of course, when you say thinking, what specifically are you weighing? Question, right? Of course. No English here. This isn't no. This is straight out language, right? What specifically are you weighing? Silence. You know, you're comfortable with quiet, right? Awkwardness disappears when you slow down. You hold eye contact. You ask one clear question. You let the silence do the work. Silence pressures them. Silence pressures them, not you. Of course, when you say thinking, what specifically are you weighing? Get them to answer back. And then we'll talk about our last step, right? And our last step here is disrespect and how to deal with it. Every agent says that, the prospect, right? Prospect. This is a prospect. Every agent says that. Your commission's too high. I can find this cheaper. Sales rep. Right? And I've seen many sales rookies not answer this question properly, and it's like, okay, where's the training here? You got 10 years experience, right? You just Expect everything to land on a plate. No, get out of here. This isn't for you. Yeah, I know, but I work really hard and I can discount. Yeah, I know, but I work really hard and I can discount. What's going on here? Right? Think about it for a second. Think about your answer. Write a couple answers down, and give yourself 5 seconds. Yeah, I know, but I work really hard and I can discount. Right? Everybody's looking for that commission in a job. Everybody's looking for that deal. Everybody's looking for that position. Everybody's got their own system. But can they defend? Can they justify? Can they negotiate themselves? Right? Yeah, I know, but I work really hard and I can discount. Every agent says that. Your commission is too high. I can find this cheaper. Yeah, I know, but I work really hard and I can discount. What does that actually mean? Right? You're focusing on, and when we're focusing on the moment properly, this is where deals are won and this is where deals are lost. When we're focusing on the rookie's response, yeah, I know, but I work really hard and I can discount. Guys, give me 1 second. You know, yeah, I know, but I work really hard and I can discount. Hold on, what do you mean that? They defend. You're justifying. Like I said, they negotiate against this down. Now, when the prospect says your commission is too high, I can get it cheaper, or another agent offered less, they're testing your confidence. They're testing your conviction. They're testing your stability, their emotional stability, actually, your perception to value. I'm about to lose the deal, rookie. Professional, they're measuring my certainty. Think about it. Your commission is too high. I understand, but I can work really hard. I can lower it. I really want to earn your business. I really want to earn your business. What just happened? Guys, what just happened here? I'll give you a thought to think about that. What actually just happened? I'm going to give you guys a couple minutes to think about that and write down a couple of your answers. And, I'm going to give you guys a minute or so. Right? And give yourself 30 seconds. All right. I really want you to think about this, guys. It's not even the point where, you know, I understand, but I work really hard. I can lower it. I really want you to earn your business. Okay. So I'm gonna give you guys 30 seconds to kind of write this down. And once that timer stops, I'm gonna give you, you guys are gonna give me back a couple answers, and then we're gonna go ahead and discuss what I think and what just happened. All right, done. Again, remember what we just said here. Right? I understand, but I work really hard. I can lower it. I really want to earn your business. You know, they weaken their authority. I can work hard. I can lower it. I really want to earn your business. They validated the objection emotionally, right? They train the prospect to negotiate harder. Well, this guy's got to negotiate harder now. He's really working. It's not even about the emotion now. It's about the I'm flexible under pressure, right? They reduce their own value. And in sales, flexible under pressure is this it equals discounts. It's discountable, right? Rookies. And you know, I understand. We give you this, the discount and this one too. I understand, but I really work hard. I can lower it. And this is gonna happen. This is life. This is true. Like I've seen a lot of people do this before. And the more I see this, the more I'm like, okay, guys, there's gotta be something here that you're thinking or you're not doing right. And this is where you're gonna need training. And this is where you're gonna have to retrain and work harder, right? But like, think about it. You want that sale, right? Your commission's too high, by the way. Your commission is just way too high. I understand, but I can really work. I can work really hard. I can lower it. I really want to earn your business. Sales professionals. And we're gonna conclude here after this one because you know I'll have a part two if I get enough interest and likes. Your commission is too high, prospect. Again, we'll deal with that. Your commission is too high. Professional compared to what? Compared to what? Perfect question. Your commission is too high. Compared to what? Silence. Now the pressure shifts. Now the prospect must explain their logic, and most can't. Think about that. Most can't. If they say another agent will do it for less, that makes sense. Some agents compete on price. I compete on position. I compete on outcome. If saving a few thousand is the priority, I may not be your best fit. Sell them the exit. If maximizing the final sales prices, then we should talk. Pause. Calm. No emotion, no defense. You didn't fight, you didn't refrain. This works when you defend the price. You're lowering perceived value. You can calmly stand behind, you can stand on business. Stand on business. A lot of people, I hear a lot of people stand on business, right? People subconsciously think if they're not willing to discount themselves easily, maybe here, maybe there's something here, right? Here's another one. Help me understand. Is the concern the percentage itself or what you received it for? Right? You're now separating value confusion. You're separating, you educate, right? If it's value and if it's price, you qualify commitment. Straightforward, right? Have this down, right? Message me the word disrespect. You guys know how to spell disrespect? Okay. I like using the pen now just because I'm comfortable I'm using my finger instead. Okay, you guys know how to spell disrespect. All right, cool. Anyway, so you guys get the point, right? Go with, you can go with an even stronger version, but again, message me and I'll give you that information, right? You can lower your commission. There's different version authorities that we could talk about, and the real difference between how the rookie versus the professional, right? So, the moment you start defending your price, you're losing your frame, warriors, professionals, right? So the moment you stand calmly behind it, you become the standard. Confidence closes more deals than a discount. Remember that, right? Let me know. I'll give you the masterclass script for that. Message me the word disrespect and I'll send it out to you. Before I go, listen, you don't need to convince people to buy homes. You don't need to convince people to buy cars. You don't need to convince people to buy insurance. You don't need to convince people to buy travel. You don't need to oversell. You don't need to over-explain. And you definitely don't need to sound desperate. What you need is position. The moment you stop acting like a peddler and start acting like that professional warrior, everything changes. The questions change. The respects change. The closes get easier. If all you care is about a close, here's the truth. Some buyers don't want to be chased. They don't want to be led. I'm not here to lead you. I'm not here to chase you. So set the standard. Filter the noise. Stop rewarding, right? Just looking with just hoping, right? So when a person says just looking, just hoping that it works. Just looking towards something, right? Instead of that, say just hoping that this works. If this hit, subscribe. If it stung a little, good. This means you're leveling up. I'll see you in the next one.